Are you planning to do an iOS app? Not yet. We need to know first how relevant it will be for Android. You said that the parallax, alongside parallax, is addressed. Is it a large area survey? As for the across parallax, it will be done by the PHOTOMOD. Is it a free model or geo-reference, just like block adjustment? It's up to the client. You have a ready-made project, so it's a problem on the client side. To a certain degree, yes.
Thanks for your presentation. I think it's very interesting topic. And for the model, cloud technology is very good. It's very power. But as you know, Chinese government and a lot of companies want to do cloud computing in geodata. But the big problem is safety about data. So in our system, how to protect our data safety? Thank you.
You mean security, yes?
I think that data protection should be addressed using a platform. I mean, we use open VPN channel, so only the user has access to it, and the platform operator does not release their data to anybody. And another solution, you know that there are Ministry of Defense's goals in Russia. There are some secure channels to transmit data. So data security depends on the level of security that you need to achieve. If it is a commercial level, Dr. Reisman tomorrow will tell you how data is protected at a company level. I mean, if you put your data on a cloud, how can data be protected? He will tell you. If it's a higher level of security, then you need to use a secure channel. Go ahead. Ask your questions. You can ask your question to Victor. Sure, you had a question.
It's not about data security, not only about data security, but also for such as Chinese government forbid the geodata, such as the precision is better than 1 to 2000. It is forbidden to public or release the data from the internet. Then how could our cloud technology be used in China?
Практически ответил на этот вопрос.
I think I answered that question. The data secrecy is the legislation concern. As Mr. Shu points out, if 1 to 2000 is secret data, then you have to have a restricted internet or change the law. I think it's not a technical solution. Technically, everything is possible. You can make a channel secure. Even two presidents can communicate freely. Technologically, it is possible. That's what I want to say. And it's just a matter of legal provisions.
This cloud technology could be used in private cloud, not public cloud. Is that possible?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, that's the
No
solution.
problems, absolutely. Ну, вот такие вот облачные решения, вот пока вы думаете о вопросах, можно, Андрей Юрьевич?
Allow me to follow up on this. Here in this room we have a lot of representatives of Roscartography. Back in the day, when Roscartography started their big projects, we stepped forward with a different angle, a different approach that didn't involve buying PHOTOMOD for all the staff, but rather creating a large cloud to be used, or a conveyor that would be custom tailored or custom made for a specific task, like a Roscosmos project that they will tell us tomorrow. They used a conveyor to create orthophoto plans based on space imagery. PHOTOMOD conveyor is a pretty expensive but individualized tool. When Hexagon mentioned that several people cover 1 million or process 1 million over several weeks, I remember 5 years ago we used conveyor at the research center of Roscosmos. We said that we can do 1 million kilometers in 1 day, considering the scale, the accuracy, and so on. So automatic solutions depend on a specific task. And like I said, it all comes down to computing power of hardware. As these possibilities present themselves to a larger extent, do you think it will be possible to transmit data from UAS, let's say, or aerial surveying aircraft directly to the, let's say, a PHOTOMOD to make quick decisions? It's a very good question. Representatives of a respective Russian ministry visited us once. They wanted to have an on-board processing. It depends on the payload, how many kilograms it can carry, what task. Data transmission is much easier. The original idea was to mount a computer on a drone. As far as data transmission is concerned, it all comes down to connectivity. I mean, it's really no-brainer. No such a no-brainer. I mean, you need to have a transmitter. Any other questions on photogrammetry?
Все-таки возвращаясь вот к этим
Coming back to those magic glasses, I understand one of the advantages is mobility. You can be outside of your office and connect to them. We used 4G, all right, but 4G is not prevalent everywhere. In fact, we will have a demo on Wednesday before the roundtable. I think cadastral engineers will really like it. You could use one of your services. This notebook can handle 2 operators. I mean, how can you put data available for engineers on a cloud? Konstantin, it's not up to us. It's up to Rosreestr. If our authorities require data to be present on the cloud, or as Uzgik said, stereo model is a stereo pair or set of images with external orientation parameters. Like I said, technically anything can be done. There are no limitations. If the boss of Rosreestr says that the cadastre needs to be built up actively, or if they decide that information should be stored in blocks on available clouds, like I said, technically it can be done easily. The project in Kazan, in Napolis, was all about this idea, to store data for that district in one place. Sometimes they classified raw images, and what they do transmit is transformed images. Those are not raw images. It's no longer secret. Oh, that's obvious. How much does a mouse cost? $5. It's a Bluetooth enhanced mouse. 30 rubles. 5 rubles. Or $5. It's a regular mouse. Nothing special. We have them. Maybe $6. It's vendor specific. You can find even for 20, I'm sure. A question? My question is to Dmitry concerning automation. 80, 70, 90% of automation that you mentioned refer to photo triangulation, DEM, orthophoto plan generation. My question about automation as it relates to creating a classical map with vectorization and so on. Automatic interpretation, recognition of elements of the terrain. Are we going to cover that anytime soon? It is well known that this process is not very automatic. Building automation implies a whole new set of templates, and it enhances performance rate substantially. I mean, if you multiply one click by 8 million, I mean, you'll get what you'll get. So this is a step toward efficiency gains. Other than that, what I mean to say is that when you capture buildings, surveying buildings takes up 20% of the total, but when we make a map, it's 20% of workload, plus 40% is surveying the relief, which is automated. The relief is highly automated. Yeah, I agree, but there is still a number of layers, cartographic layers, that have to be done or could be done automatically. My personal concern is that many say we decode images, we determine objects automatically, and so on and so forth. But more often than not, the effort spent on editing here will take more time than vectoring itself, because the object has to be vectorized on two images simultaneously to give us a stereo image. Today we talked about extraction of vectors from cloud, but PHOTOMOD has nothing to offer as of yet. Decoding based on raster is not available either. I mean, automatic decoding applies to agricultural lands and so on and so forth. I mean, things are not as clear on that front. Mr. Chibunchev, Mikaik. Have you considered using neuron networks? And does your PHOTOMOD process images taken by slit shutters, electronic slit shutters? We don't have any specialized tools that compensate for any issues resulting from electronic slit shutters. I meant PHOTOMOD and neural networks. Let me take that. We at Rakus are not using or are not handling any neuron networks, but we did give assignments to partner organizations to investigate it further. If something of interest comes up, we will add that. Here's my answer to Mr. Babic. I am not going to talk about Hexagon. How did Info develop? They had stereo vectorization done with one American company. The block adjustment was made by another company's software. So each product is developed for the most prominent brand and is later sold under this brand. Let's not boil the ocean here. Just been said about a lot of interesting things like LiDAR processing, LiDAR image processing. I mean, we cannot afford to catch up with the competitors who are way ahead of us. I mean, we're focusing on one thing, we try to develop it to perfection. As for neural networks, I mean, you just mentioned this once, and a lot of people will gather around you, telling you what they did with the neural network. We were promised some preliminary product about neural network at the end of this year. If we like it, maybe next year we might be saying PHOTOMOD neuron network as one word combination. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's consider today's working day closed. One small announcement. We will continue this topic at the master classes. Dmitry and Alexei will cover that in both languages. On Wednesday, right before the round table, we'll take some time away for you to amuse yourself with Android. You will see whether it is feasible or not. Maybe by Wednesday we call Moscow and see how the Congress of Cadastral Engineers went on and how they perceived information about such simple solution. Because, as I told you, the president of the Society of Cadastral Engineers visited us, or the association. The National Association of Cadastral Engineers and Viktor Kislov said that a lot of people like this idea. So if you have any ideas for practical usage of photogrammetry, please come and join us. We have a case of something that we developed but don't know who to give it to. So we will see all of that at the round table.